Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Beautiful ones of the Creative Genius Coaching Group. I don't know about you, but it is cold this evening. I've just had to go and grab my blanket to put around me to keep me a little bit snuggly. So, my loves, how are you doing? How are you? I feel like it's been a while since I've shown up on here for the lives, which I am endeavouring to continue to do so. At least try and come up here once a week and share some deliciousness with you. So today we're gonna be exploring edges. 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 Everything has an edge. Everything has an edge. You know, just looking around me right now, noticing the edges of pretty much everything. What the hell has this got to do with living a creative life? You might be wondering. Well, I'm going to reveal all in this video. So first of all, welcome. If you're watching this live, do say hello. I'm very aware that last time I came on live here, for some strange reason, my computer decided not to show me any of the comments or anything. So let's, fingers crossed, that doesn't happen this time, so I can see your comments as you write them. As always, I really invite you to share any thoughts, any responses, any answers to any of the inquiries that I might put into the space for you. Ask any questions at all. So this becomes more of a two-way conversation, even though we're not in the same space as each other. We're just in this little virtual space. If you're watching this on the replay, again, give us a hello. You can say replay if you're watching this, and do let me know any of your thoughts. So, edges. This is a topic that it's always fascinated me, and one of the reasons it's always fascinated me is, I guess, because I have lived at that edge for a lot of my life, to the point that I recall friends of mine over the years that have called me an edge walker. Yeah, not a skywalker. I'm not going to be adding to the Star Wars mythology, but an edge walker. That tightrope edge. One of my favourite, well, it became a movie, but it was, first of all, a book, was the beautiful artiste Philip Petit, who was the guy who would walk across tightropes suspended between buildings, like completely crazy. The film Man on Wire is incredible, actually, if you get to watch that, but his book even more so, to hear it from his own words. And one of the things that I always stayed with me was when he managed to sneak up through one of the Twin Towers whilst it was still being built. So it wasn't finished, it wasn't available to the public, and he managed to get himself all the way right onto the roof without anyone noticing. And he was stood at that edge, and he looked over the edge towards the other Twin Tower, thinking about the idea of the desire to create one of his ropes, whatever it is, that he walks across from one bridge to the other, and to do this ridiculous and phenomenal, just bonkers act of walking between the two Twin Towers on a high wire. And he remembers, and he wrote this in his book, that the thought that came to him when he was thinking about it was, this is impossible. This is impossible. But then the next thought he had was, so I'm going to do it. Now, I'm not saying that you have to, become au fait with walking across a high wire, or anything as lunatic as that. So please, please, children, don't go out and do that. But there was something about that, the fact that there was a part of him that was like, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to turn back. It's just, there's no way this can happen. It's too scary. The fact that he then went, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for it. And actually, it reminds me, in the summer, I signed up for and listened to a program by a coach called Melanie and Leah, who some of you might have heard of, who I think is really phenomenal in some of her programs, incredibly generous. And it was one of her programs, and she talked about the difference between, in life, when there's something that we want, or there's a particular kind of lifestyle that we want to create, something we want to put our energy into, a project, some idea. And often how we play this game, because the whole thing is this massive creative game, life, the biggest creative process of them all, as I often say, was we can often tend to play this game of life, playing not to lose, doing the best not to lose. And she was inviting us to change that and to explore what it might, first of all, feel like from the inside, but how it might impact the decisions we make, the actions we take, the words we say to ourselves and to each other, the things that we then go and do, if instead we played to win. So instead of playing to lose, we played to win. And in a way, you have to have that kind of balls. Somebody like Philip Petit, walking between the two Twin Towers, he can't go, okay, I'm going to do this and try not to lose, try not to fall. He's got to go, I'm doing this to get across. Everything is about getting across. And there's a difference between that power of conviction that brings something on board that you cannot imagine until you actually choose to play to win in your life and what it is you want to do. When you decide you're going to go all in and fully commit. But the thing is, what often stops us from doing that in the very first place is the fact that we've met an edge. Every time we expand and grow and take a step, do something maybe a little bit out of our comfort zone, try something new, we've expanded the edge of what is familiar for us. And that can be thrilling. We can feel a deep sense of satisfaction, joy, celebration. We can notice the impact that has on our life. And that'll be great for a certain amount of time until we reach another, what I call, point of becoming. And this becoming is an endless unfolding and unfurling like a fern, as I've used that analogy before, throughout the whole of our life. So my first question for you really is, where are you on that? Because there are lots of different ways that we can be with these edges. We might really kind of be pushing at them all the time, like putting a lot of effort in, using all of our energy and our force, almost kind of bullying our way through these edges, probably continuously exhausted, probably not terribly resourced in doing that. We might even be suffering for some impact of that, maybe in our mental or emotional or physical health, or in our relationships, or just the kind of level of satisfaction that we have in our life. It's one way to be at those edges. If that's you, that's familiar to you, let me know. Another way that we kind of do that is that we just get overwhelmed straight away when we reach an edge. It's too much. I can't. It's impossible. That comes to us, and it's almost then in that overwhelm, this is when we really meet fear. And fear can manifest in lots of different ways, and that way that it will manifest for you in your creative life will be very familiar. So for me, for many years, I went into freeze. I would freeze. I would be so overwhelmed in my system that I would freeze in the face of this, that real fear, and in that I would just collapse. There would be a helplessness, there would be a kind of complete letting go. I'd have to go and recover. There were times when it really impacted my mental health, that I had to kind of disappear and look out for myself and look after myself and seek the support needed at that particular time, until the moment when I felt strong enough, and off I go again and feel like I was getting somewhere, and then lo and behold, here comes a massive edge again, or maybe not even a massive edge, just another edge of becoming, of expansion, and the whole process would carry on. So there's the kind of collapsing that can happen at the edge. Another way that we can meet this edge is we go into the other side of the fear pattern, is where we go completely into panic, into almost like alarm bells ringing. We're completely activated all the time. We're running off adrenaline. We have no trust in anything. We're controlling everything. We're trying everything. We're grasping at stuff that's almost this kind of like begging of life. And that's not got any ease or softness or kindness in that place whatsoever. But again, it will be very, very familiar. It's almost like we have to kind of get into a battle with life. And we stay in that the whole time until we probably burn out, quite honestly. It's quite a destructive place to be in for ourselves, and also for the life that we're creating, and for those of us that live around us. And then for some people, we just decide, or we think we've decided, because we don't know what else to do at that point, that we're going to live just before the edge. We're going to set up camp there. It's comfortable. You know, it might not be deeply satisfying. It might be kind of frustrating at times. We might look out the world and feel a lot of like envy or jealousy, and we might have all these kind of desires and dreams that make us weep a lot, and you know, we kind of could have a lot of regrets, or perhaps wondering what it might be like if I had done that, and it's kind of like we live a half life. You know, the quote, the Shirley Valentine quote, which she speaking to the sea, and she's going, why are we given all of this life if we only live a little bit of it? So it's a kind of like resignation to like, okay, you know, this is fine. You know, we might even like come up with all sorts of justifications in our mind. Like we tell ourselves, no, this is fine. This isn't, I should be grateful. No. You know, we kind of live there. And it might have lots of lovely things in it, but it will feel almost too comfortable, too familiar. And there'll be those telltale signs that there's a part of us that hungers and longs for more. So I'm just very aware right now, if you're watching this live, that my computer is being weird. It keeps coming up with this strange thing. So I do not know if you've left any questions. I suppose I could have a little look on my phone. Let's see if it will show me anything here. Let's have a look. So why is it important? Why is it important for us to understand this edge and what it might mean? The thing is, as I mentioned, this is the edge. This is the place that we grow. This is where we are becoming more visible to life, and more visible in who we are, more visible in what we're doing and what we're offering, whether that's our business, our services, whether that's the products that we might have, whether that's visions or ideas, the things that we want to contribute, to be in service with. And if we don't find a way, a different way perhaps, a more healthy way, a more joyful, a more peaceful, a more energized way, a kinder way to move when we approach these edges, we're just going to continue to repeat the same patterns over and over again. And I think then we do ourselves a disservice. as we move into our life. The other thing about edges, which I've been really kind of reflecting on this, if we even imagine like the edges of our own skin, and then we've got all our ideas, we're feeling quite aligned, we're feeling ready to kind of go with our creative, whatever it is, out into the world. The thing is, if we move out into the world and we're still coated by a lot of things that maybe have become these, what I call the monsters that we live with. Maybe we're coated in so much fear that we're just bound by that the whole time. Everything we do is fueled by fear. Or maybe that's shame, so we move out into the world, but we're bound by shame. It's coating our skin. It can be like this heavy veil around our faces. So there's this perpetual feeling of wrongness. I am wrong and I can't do that. I'm going to shrink myself. I'm out here, but I'm also going to hide. And that's a very conflicting energy to give to life. There might be guilt. There might be that feeling of I should be living like this. I should be doing this. When actually guilt is a little bit like swallowing poison. We're slowly poisoning ourselves because we are continuing to act and live in a way that is not who we are. It's not truthful to who we are. We might be moving out in life with the skin of approval. Yeah, please love me. Please tell me I'm amazing. So everything that we do then as we enter into life has got that pressure of that fueling it, And maybe we've also got those kind of edges of perfectionism, which is a very shame-bound way to live. I've got to be perfect. And that's a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure, a lot of deep unkindness and painfulness towards oneself. And also perfectionism is a joy killer. It's a massive party pooper. So perfectionism as a skin living in life will never allow you to enjoy yourself, or to kind of let your hair down in a way, or let your guard down, or be messy. Might be a people pleaser. That might be the edge, the skin that you're meeting the world from. Yeah, always making sure that you don't disappoint others. You don't do it, wrong in someone's eyes, or someone might not like you if you say this or do this or live in this particular way. So we all have these kind of edges of ourselves. The skin, I'm going to use that. I'm going to really lean into the kind of spooky season we're in, that we will move out into life with, and then wonder why. Why are things not working for me? Why is this so difficult? Why am I failing? Why is it such hard work? Why? And we look out at maybe other people and go, well, it seems really easy for them, or they seem to be in a lot of joy, and how very dare they? Not realizing it's because we've moved into life with this edge around us, and this edge has a name. This edge is this creature that is wrapped itself, entwined itself around us, and acting in our behalf in the world. So I'm very interested in what these kind of monsters, these creatures, these beings, and you can call them the shadows, the shadow parts of us, are doing that are impacting us from moving into life. So there's two aspects of the edge. The one of like that kind of, how do we grow? How do we expand? How do we move out of the familiar, what we see as comfortable, into that unknown? We don't know what's on the other side. And then there's the moving into life with this protection of our familiars, those creatures, those monsters, those critters, that's the thing. They're familiar to us, so they might not be helping us to create live the life that we want, but in a weird way, they're kind of strangely better than not having that and being kind of very exposed, allowing our skin to really meet the world in who we are, and having no clue as to what might happen. It's real unknown. So how does this impact us? How does this impact us as we meet this edge? What might that mean for us? Well, on a very practical level, it might mean that we don't ever get started in whatever our project or idea or our offerings are. Yeah, is this familiar for you? Let me know. You always have these great ideas, You think you'd be brilliant at this. People are telling you you're really skilled, you've got a natural ability. You know that yourself. And you hear yourself go, yeah, yeah, one day, yeah, I'm going to get round to that, or I'll do that tomorrow. And it just doesn't happen for some reason. Or you're thinking to yourself, well, surely I can't do that, or what will people say? Or you stop yourself. You kind of talk yourself away from that edge by that part of you that feels like it's like soothing, like this, stroking your hair. It's telling you it's got your back. It's okay. Don't look over there. There's nothing for you. When in fact, actually, it's one of these little insidious creatures that doesn't want to see you expand. Because if it does, that creature won't have a role. It won't be part of your entourage. Probably making a lot of decisions for you in your life, okay? It could also be that edge for you is about your financial place that you're in. Maybe you find it difficult to make a living. Maybe you're always in a survival mode. Never mind thriving. You've not even reached the level even of, I'm living now. I always see there's these 3 levels: survival level, living level, thriving level. But you're constantly in the survival level, no matter again how hard you work or what you come up with or what you do. You seem to be living in a lot of those kind of same patterns. Okay, so you can't seem to reach that edge of a different way to be with your finances. Maybe that's in relationships as well. You keep having the same kind of relationships and you don't quite understand, and you're doing all this work, but still something seems to be stopping you from going over the edge into something completely different. So these creatures, these monsters, these things that are hidden in those kind of shadow places in us, deep in the dark, damp soil of the earth, that are whispering to us, that are pulling our hair, biting our skin, or acting as saboteurs, blocking the way, clogging up the drains of our natural brilliance and flow of our life. And yet we don't really realize. We try and fix things. We try and sort this out. We try and go a different way. And it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work is that the only way for us to meet those edges, the edges around our skin, the edges in the places that we want to become more visible or step more into in life, and to grow into that, becoming into that thriving place, into this place of potentiality, even more possibility, into a place of pure magic and miracles, is we have to destroy the monsters, Bringing the kind of horror film analogy, we have to turn to face those particular creatures. We have to have the courage to do so. It's not about waiting until we don't feel fear anymore. It's not about waiting until we know exactly how, step by step, with the guarantee at the end. No one has that going into the dark. We don't even know what's going to be in there. We think we might know, but we don't. So we have to be able to go in and to do so, and this is very important, safely. Now, I am just coming towards the end now of this most astonishing training that I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and I've not found anything like this for a long time. And it's a nervous system training for artists, performers, and creatives. This is what I've wanted to do. A few years ago, I put out a program called The Genius of Your Madness, which was about mental health and creativity, because there does seem to be more of a propensity for those of us that are creative. We're more sensitive. We seem to be more impacted by the vagaries of our mental well-being. So I ran that program. I think I ran it twice until I suddenly was very aware of, even though I have a lot of knowledge Even though I've got a lot of my own personal wisdom from the things that I've been through, the tools, the practices, the understandings, from my own journeys with all of this, I feel like the nervous system aspect, which I use so much in my work and with my clients, I was feeling like, okay, I really want to get something that really lands me in a place of being an authority. Hence, when I found this program, I immediately was like, yes to this, and it has been deeply profound. So this is the crux for me. None of the things that we try and do, none of the trying to fix, none of the trying like outsmart or try a different way to get beyond the edges of whatever that is in our life that we desire are going to work, because we're missing this part. And that part is, how do we do so safely? So that we don't go into that collapse, so we don't go into the overwhelm and panic, so that we don't kind of just fuck off as soon as it gets difficult, so we don't end up creating a lot of destruction for our own selves and for those around us. And how can we do this with that ease, the joy, the pleasure, the playfulness? So I have so many incredible tools. They almost feel like the superpowers that we go into the dark with, a bit like Stranger Things, yeah? In order to blast through these places. We have to go through that particular darkened tunnel to come out the other side. But we have to do so safely. The thing is then about edges, and just gonna share this before I end this for today. I mean, really love to know all your experiences, your thoughts, anything I've shared on your own relationship to edges in your life, the things that have been helpful for you perhaps, how much nervous system support you bring in and work with yourself, with your creative path. For me, ever since coming back from Asia, the end of May, I have been living more and more turned towards that edge and to that unknown. And I have spoken about it, I have shared on here of what seems like miracles, the grace of life that has come in over and over again, but come in ways, actually every single time, in ways that I had not expected, all of the time. And it's felt peaceful, and it's felt curious, and it's felt quite radical for me. Somebody who has lived most of her life fueled by fear as opposed to something else. This feels so unknown. I feel like I'm literally walking into the unknown. I am. I'm in that unknown place. And weirdly, it feels like the way to live. And I've got so many tools, and I've got a lot of resources that I already had, and now I have even more after working with this nervous system training. And for my own kind of inquiries around this, that even over the last few weeks, and I'll share this on another video at some point when other things have happened in my life now, I really feel ready to go to these edges over and over again. And I have never, ever consciously and excitedly had that notion before. And I tell you, every single day there is something that has been like magic. And I want to share these with you. The biggest thing for me in what underlies the creative genius, my own path, is freedom. Freedom, creative freedom. And I want this for you, so that you can really go for what it is that you're doing. And it will feel like you've turned everything upside down, I will tell you that now. But it's freedom. So I'm really excited to invite you to join us for this year's Freedom Keys program. from fear to safety and sensuality. We start on the 30th of October. Until Monday coming, there is a offer on, so you save 222 quid at the moment. And if you do book by Monday, when you book by Monday, you will automatically receive a one-to-one private coaching session with me, which is also actually worth 222 on its own. So there's a lot of value already in enrolling on your place into this program by the coming Monday. I'm really happy to jump on a call with you. I always am. Really love chatting with people about what they're doing, about whether this is even right for you. It might not be. I might want to point you towards something else. It's got loads of resources I can point you towards, but it might be the thing that you're ready to face those fears, but in a way that is safe and in a way that is incredibly pleasurable and sensual and erotic. And to do so in a way where we use storytelling as well. Yeah? Bringing in a lot more of this, because there's so much power in it. So much of who we are as human beings that we've forgotten about because we live so much in this screen and the busyness and all of the values that society has told us to have, that we've let go and lost a lot of the magic. So it's about reclaiming that. You know, I'm really seeing this as going off on a creative adventure, having your own kind of Luke Skywalker adventure, which I really want for you. And it'll be very unique to you. You'll be given a map. You'll be given your own compass in that sense. And you'll be given a blueprint for something you can live out all aspects of your life from. And I am living proof of that right now. As a client of mine who is writing a book after 14 years of not even going there and looking at it for all sorts of reasons, has made that commitment to go all in. Clients that have been in absolute resistance on getting their business visible are taking the steps to do so. Writers that have worked with me, artists that have worked with me, musicians that have worked with me. Someone who is just now cut down her hours of her job and is going all in on creating her or following her love of puppets. It doesn't make any sense to the part of us that believes fear and the impossible, but it makes complete sense to the soul in us that trusts in magic. So I'd love you to join us. I'd love you to come on board for this. It's going to be phenomenal. It runs over 2 weeks. You get workbooks, you get a private group, you get voice notes from me throughout the program. And when you enroll by this Monday coming, you also receive that one-to-one private coaching session. We're going to play. We're going to play with his edges. You're going to see this as your own initiation. And I've chosen to run this around Halloween, when the veils are thin, when we literally are going into our own descent. We're going to have those tools. You're going to become your own hero. So I think this sounds bloody marvellous. So I will put the link in to the Freedom Keys. Do let me know either here or in a DM if you would like to jump on a call. I'm available to do that. I would love to do that. No obligation at all. And let me know if you have any questions, any thoughts. And thank you so much for your time and your attention. I really hope this is all worked okay. My computer is not happy these days. I think I said that last time. Taking note. I think it's time to explore a new option. Kind of want to say that quietly so my computer doesn't hear and get upset. Anyway, my darlings, go well into the rest of your evening, and I will see you soon.